Gump report. You never know what you're going to get. And you're not going to know what you're going to get because I haven't fully thought of it myself. I keep watching. Okay, Gump report. Now, before we get started, I must explain why the last two Gump goodnesses didn't come out. And I know no one ever said anything about it, but this, you see it on my shoulder. This is the animation I made for someone named Ember Paradox. I know you're not going to really care that much, but she was instrumental in helping me to deal with a lot of the stresses I've been having for the last couple of years in this building that I've been living. It's been very stressful. And I decided to give her a gift for her birthday, which was to animate something. I haven't animated literally in 3 years. When I released it, I hadn't animated anything or uploaded for 3 years. When I made the video, which I put a lot of stress on myself, it messed with me. That's why the Gump Goodnesses didn't come out. And also, I did say I was going to release it on this channel. The one reason I was going to do that was due to the fact that I could not upload to the channel that I originally had the animation on. It refused to upload. So I was going to do it on this one about a day or two later, but finally started to work. I checked it. It was the next day when I was supposed to upload it. It actually worked, so I didn't need to do it. If you want to see what it looks like, I'm not only going to leave a connection to the video itself, which is with the channel, but also Ember Paradox's channel herself. I know you're not going to really give any damn about it, but I'm the type of person that if you're going to help me about something, especially if I've been having stress, I care about. I care about you. If anyone has been on my channel for a long time, when anybody speaks to me or shows an interest or has great opinions, I will mention them. And Ember is not like a big wrestling fan. She isn't. But she was instrumental in helping me deal with some stress I've been having for the last couple of years. So that's why I did it. But unfortunately, the stress that making the animation was a little more than I expected. And that's the reason why two Gump Goodnesses didn't come out. One of them I did film, but I didn't do it correctly because I wasn't in the right mindset. The other one I didn't film. So this video, and I'm sorry, this is already 2 minutes long. You never know what you're going to get in these videos. I always say, you never know what you're going to get. I just did what I did. You're welcome. But let's go to the trifecta video. Maybe that's the name I'm going to call this. The trifecta video of WWE, TNA, and Naomi. Let's do Naomi first. I was not happy that Trinity returned to WWE. I was worried that they would treat her like crap. And to be honest, for the time that she finally came back, they did. She had no direction. The only thing that she was doing was putting other people over. People wanted to see more from her, particularly after she did so well in Impact when it transitioned to TNA. There is no lying about it. If she had not gone to Impact Wrestling, she would not be the person she is today. There's no way you would see how much determination and how much variation she has if she did not go to TNA when it was still Impact Wrestling before its transition. There's no way. There is no way that it would have happened. Flat out, there's no lie, there's no way. Not that she didn't have the ability to do what she's been doing that we knew. I've known from 2012, this woman was different. She wore her heart on her sleeve. She's always been like that. But no one understood how gifted she was and underestimated her because when she came back and Jade Cargill got hurt and there was no way they can do the storyline they wanted, what did they do? They had no choice but to put Naomi in the spotlight, to turn her heel because they didn't really have much for her to do and there was no Jade Cargill. Look what that girl did. She was so underestimated that she blew everybody's mind away when she literally showed when she wants to turn the heel on, damn girl can turn that bitch on. And she did. But now, unfortunately, even though she's so over as a heel and people love her as a heel, that now had to end. Because last week, I didn't see that Raw. I didn't see it. I didn't know the reason why she was not medically cleared. I thought maybe that might have been an angle. Nope. My girl's pregnant. Using Trinity and John, using them to get Stephanie's show over, because now she's not doing the original series that she was doing before. Now she's doing a podcast with someone. I don't recognize the woman she's with. I barely even looked at her. I think I maybe remember her, but it doesn't really matter. They decided, as one of the premiere episodes of her podcast, John and Trinity came on the show, and they said they pregnant. And John is freaking excited. I remember, I think it was 2015 or 16, at least 9 or 10 years ago. Or, no, 9, 10, or 11 years ago. Somewhere around then, because Total Divas was pretty hot back then. That John, he a freaky. He want to pound that. But she made it very clear, I do not want to take a chance. She had to have something implanted in her arm to prevent her from getting pregnant, because they did not want to have kids. Well, maybe that thing right there had been removed for quite a while, because that girl got shot up with some good sperm, and now she's pregnant. And I'm happy for her. Let's make this clear. Taking away from wrestling how hard she worked and how badly she was treated with Mercedes Moné. We look at Trinity. Trinity is literally one of the few people you've heard in wrestling that has no problems, no qualms with people. She's liked no matter where she goes. This is the truth. Now, mind you, I've never lied about this. She is no different than any female pro wrestler. If she got to politic her ass somewhere, she's going to pick something and she's going to politic her ass to where she needs to go. But she's never been known to be one of those type of women that is willing to screw someone else over to get ahead. Yeah, she's going to do what she can to try and get a spot. But she's going to do what she can not to screw somebody while doing it. Now, there are other women that are like that. But Trinity's been around long enough at this point now. As a veteran since 2009 from FCW, she has not decided to screw other people over in the business. And on top of that, even though Jonathan and John pretty much have gotten their asses in trouble with DWIs, Trin has been quiet. I've not heard one damn thing wrong with her. She's never gone out drunk. She's never caused any trouble in the back. She never caused any trouble when they traveled anywhere. There's never been any major complaints. She's basically been quiet until what happened with her and Mercedes, where they were frustrated that those tag belts were being treated like shit. But other than that, Trinity has been quiet, kind, caring. She's loved across WWE and TNA. And that's something that's difficult to do in pro wrestling, guys. Let's make it very clear. No matter what anybody says, in the damn business, it is still cutthroat to a certain extent. You want that spotlight no matter where you go. You may be passionate about wrestling, counting if you came up in the independents, or if you're going through the performance center and you fell in love with wrestling, or you just said, you know what, this I can do. I can make some damn good money no matter what. Wrestling is not a friendly business all the time. You can get fucked by somebody. But it'd be very rare to find people who don't normally do it. And Trinity is one of them. No matter what anybody says. And I saw Raw, and I saw her segment where let me give you like this. You know you over when basically everyone saw your video on the Titantron. You being a good guy, you being a beautiful woman who just found out with her husband, they pregnant, even though she said, you don't got nothing growing, your baby said, we pregnant. That is John. He said, we pregnant. She said, you ain't pregnant. I'm the one that's pregnant. You got nothing growing, your baby. He says, we pregnant. And she's crying. And at that point, everyone is cheering her until she turns on Adam Pearce and said, get your heifer ass out of my damn ring, motherfucker. And everyone cheered. Everyone was singing na 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 goodbye. That's what happened. And she made it very clear. John shot her up with some quality shit. The bloodline is going to continue, but she made it very clear. With the title at her feet, squatting, she said, you heifers in the back, you got 9 months to do whatever the hell you want. But when 9 months is up, you watch, I'll be coming back. No matter what it takes, I will come back with a baby breastfeeding in my hand, and I'm coming back for my damn titles. So you better proceed with caution. That shows how over she was. Now, do I believe that there's going to be someone good enough to take this title? Here's the problem. And this is going to be also brought into the next segment with WWE. TNA will be last. Let's make this clear. Actually, you know what? Let's move into the deal that WWE has with ESPN. We might as well we're finished with Naomi. We are finished. She'll be included in the next part, but we're finished. And I say I'm happy for her. I love her. If Trinity ever did see this, I said, girl, I've talked about you since 2012. Since I've been doing wrestling reviews, that has been already nearly 13 years. I knew you were special. I knew it. And I'm glad that you got all the fame you got. I'm glad you've always been a good person, and I love you. I'm just saying this, even though no one's going to see it, she'll never see it. But now let's move on to WWE and its deal with ESPN through, well, pretty much it's Disney who's got the lion's share of that deal. Because ESPN, they don't have that kind of cash, even though they are a very big multi-billion-dollar business. Disney owns ESPN, and that is on behalf of Disney. Disney wants WWE. And now they got a streaming solution that I believe eventually could move on to Disney+. This is just me. There's no proof of this. I'll make it very clear. There's no proof of what I'm saying. Just this part. But I truly believe, even though ESPN is the one who's going to be streaming the pay-per-views or any special events, I do believe if Disney had their way, which they could renegotiate in 5 years, they could try and move it from ESPN onto Disney+. That is what I believe they really want to do, because Disney does own ESPN. Now, let's talk about the deal itself. Now, in the original video I filmed that I realized I screwed up, I wasn't paying that much attention like I said in the beginning of this video. My mind was distracted trying to produce a birthday video, and I stressed myself out and I wasn't paying attention. The original thing that I said, I thought that over 5 years, ESPN would pay $325 million. Now, I did not realize that was yearly, not the whole 5 years. That's the reason why I scrapped the video. When I realized and looked back at the information, because once I finished the birthday video, my mind was just not there. That's one of the reasons why I kind of been messing up a little bit on the videos that I had done. I messed up in some parts of it. Not much different than I usually. I'm always messing up. But I don't intentionally realize it by stressing myself out too much. I noticed after I had been stressed out that the videos, I made mistakes that I should have never made there. So that part I want to say sorry about. But realizing it, I had to scrap the video. So knowing that Peacock was going to go through the same thing, and they were trying to negotiate about a near $270 or $80 million a year deal. That was for the renegotiation. That's what they wanted to do yearly, $275 or $280, a little bit more, a little bit less. They decided, WWE, well, it's Silver Lake, they decided to go with Disney, which, well, technically it's ESPN, but Disney owns them. So Disney now has, through ESPN, the right to do pay-per-views by WWE, which is close to $325 or maybe a little bit more or less. We don't know the exact price. Now, this was done on the 6th. This is now, the 19th, so it's several days later. But I haven't checked the sites to see if they had an actual price. But even if it was $325, that's over a year each time. So the 1.5, maybe $1.6 billion business, it's real. But here's the thing. And this kind of bleeds over into TNA as well, which I will talk about. One of the problems we're going to have here with WWE, and JD now realizes it. I have not checked out Alex if he realizes it yet or not, or even if he cares. But JD realizes it. And I said this more than a year ago. We do not know what it was going to be like with the new owners, which at that time was Endeavor, because it's no longer Endeavor who owns WWE. It is Silver Lake. Remember what I'm saying, guys. It is Silver Lake who has majority shares of Endeavor. It is not Ari Emanuel anymore. He may be running it as a CEO, but he doesn't own it. As I've stated over and over again, the real owners of Endeavor can tell Ari Emanuel, which would filter down to Nick, Triple H, The Rock. It don't make a difference who is in creative. Change this. We don't like it. And they will do what they're ordered to do no matter what. If they don't, you're fired. There you go. There you go. You're fired. They will do what they're told. It's just, it hasn't happened yet. That's the deal. They're probably just going to say Ari is running it. He's doing fine. But if he fucks up or something that we don't like is going on in that show or UFC, we will tell him, which will go through all of that. They will tell Dana or Ari, do this, period. We don't like it, change it. And they will do as they're ordered. So as you see right now, because JD notices, the company legitimately is not showing anything new. JD, I believe, just reported yesterday that they've done the same bit over and over again, doing nothing but DQ losses, or not, double DQ losses. Both sides constantly keep losing, and no one is winning. And the only reason this time around, because they're in Philly, they're doing a damn street fight, so if they cheat, no one's going to pay attention to it. WWE is not producing more content. They're producing the same content over and over again as much as they can because it keeps them having to not spend so much money and not wasting anything. Remember, as I told you almost a year ago, when you look at WWE, even though Triple H did run it nicely at one point, because a lot of people loved it, you got the Bloodline storyline. You had the Judgment Day storyline. And that was it. Nothing else. You got these two factions, and everything else was like, here's the Bloodline, here's Judgment Day, and everything is here. This is Judgment Day. This is the Bloodline. That's it. And if they did not start bringing stuff up, because you're going to eventually have a major bottleneck. If you don't get something done soon, you're not going to have anybody ready when you must close down the storylines because it's going to get boring. Guess what happened? Look what is going on now. It has been months upon months since the Bloodline storyline has been done. People may still cheer for Roman Reigns. They still love Jey Uso. Now Jimmy Uso, particularly now that he got my Naomi knocked up, and she gonna be like this, her belly gonna be like this, and no titties gonna be like this. He may get very much over because of the love of Naomi. I'm telling you right now, I'm not gonna tell you that Jay hasn't done a great job, but due to the fact of how well Naomi has done as the champion, getting herself over, Jimmy is gonna get a rub, whether it's intentional or not. He's getting a rub, and that's gonna help. But what does that mean? There is no Bloodline anymore. Yes, Jacob Fatu is still interesting. Solo is still going on. Mateo and Hikuleo, they're fine. But there's no Bloodline. There's nothing. And there's no major storylines other than what's going on with Seth Rollins, which doesn't have a direction. It still has no direction. What does this mean with Division, if they're still using that name? What does this mean right now with CM Punk? CM Punk has been screwed over multiple times. But does it matter about Clash of the Castle with him? Along with him, Seth Rollins, LA Knight, Jay in a Fatal 4-Way in Paris? Does that feel like it's going to be an important storyline? It isn't. It's just a damn match. There's no major stories that's going on Raw, and definitely no stories on SmackDown. They have no stories. And because they got no stories, all they got left are characters. And their characters are like here, Roman Reigns and members of the Bloodline. Some people here, like Braun Breaker's just really being pushed right now, along with the Godzilla of Australia and a Bronson Reed, but everyone else is like a big gap here. Yet, what they've done with New Day, I've seen New Day, and honestly, without Big E as a feud, they suck. I'm saying it right now. Big E should have had his own faction. He may not wrestle anymore, but he can be a manager. He should have his own faction, and he should have been feuding with New Day. He should have been feuding with Xavier Woods and Kofi. That's what he should have done. And they did not pull the trigger on that. And yes, they got Grayson Waller with them at this point. But what is he really doing either? He doesn't feel important. They got no feud. The only feud that makes any sense is a feud against Big E and any faction that he can create. And they refuse to go there. They're doing something now with Bayley where she looks like she's losing her damn mind. Literally, what you're looking at right now is no creative. None. They had all of this, the bloodline with that. And that you can count with Liv Morgan. You can count that with you can count that Rachel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, Finn, and JD in the bloodline, along with, understand, they were feuding along with a Damian Priest and a Rhea Ripley. That is how much you had up there. And now, without either one of them being pushed correctly, the bloodline doesn't exist. Right now, they're trying to put Dom over as the current leader of it, but he's not yet. And there's no real strength, particularly now that Liv Morgan's shoulder got screwed up when she was with Kyrie. There's nothing there. So now you literally have Raw and SmackDown with no major storylines that ever feel important. Then you got NXT. And NXT, as I said, has 101 booking, basic booking. It is not perfect. It is not always good. But when you saw Shawn Michaels, you did see certain storylines make some good sense and wasn't totally bad. And JD saying the storylines on NXT suck. Why people keep saying it sucks? Well, I never said it was perfect. And I'm not going to tell you that it wasn't. It was great. It was just good, basic wrestling booking. Not great. It's not black and gold. And that is JD and Alex's major issue here. We are dealing with, understand, those two are dealing with wanting the old black and gold back. They'll never get it back because Triple H doesn't want it back. He does not care at this point. He's a stooge. That is Triple H. They can say whatever they want that Triple H is hurting the company now, particularly that he's bringing in Triple H. He's not doing it. He may be making suggestions to Ari and Nick and The Rock, but they're the ones who are making the final decisions. He may offer it to them, but they're going to be the ones that's going to be doing the purchasing, and they're the ones that's going to be doing the acquisitions and the collaborations. So the company sucks right now, except for one brand, which is NXT, which to a certain extent is half being written by the very guy who doesn't care anymore, and the other guy who is Shawn Michaels, who cares, but he's only doing the basic kind of booking anyway, so it's not like it's amazing work. And guess what? Now you got Triple H, who's trying to keep it as standard as possible. You got Shawn Michaels, legitimately, who is trying to write decent stories and making it very simple stories. And now they don't look right. I even said it myself. You look at NXT, there's something wrong. It's off. And it's simple. Triple H is influenced because he's the executive producer of, guess what? NXT now. He's the executive producer of Raw, SmackDown, and now NXT. Not even talking about what he does in Speed or Evolve. And we don't even know how that's going to translate over to AAA, which is now owned. Remember, there's no more AAA. The only reason I'm even mentioning it is that so you understand that that company, which could become easily NXT Mexico, no matter what anybody says, it could. It sucks. All of it. Now let's go to TNA. Here's the last one. Let's make this very clear. Have I been totally dissatisfied with TNA? No. But I've said it 100%. How long will it be for TNA to be the way it is? What will happen if TNA no longer is in collaboration? What would they do? Will they really gain anything? Well, we just got somewhat of an answer. Right now, you already know TNA is already in talks with not only a streaming company, but also another platform, another streaming company, but also A&E. And what was it? It was, what was the other one? It was something else. I'm blanking for some reason. Oh, CW. There you go. A&E and CW, along with maybe another streaming deal, unless it's that one, which between CW and A&E. Don't know yet. It has not been revealed. We got another, 40 or 50 days easily before we find out what's going on. Will there actually be a new platform, or will it be those two? Will it be A&E or will it be CW? Here's the deal. There's only one reason why TNA is getting the options right now. WWE. This is the deal. Let's make this very clear. Very clear. Right now, it was decided not by Triple H, not by Paul, who also went and had a vacation with his wife, and the boy got a belly now because he can't really exercise the way he does. He's at least my age, a little bit older or younger. But he's not the one that makes the final decision on any type of deals like that between them and TNA. That's Ari. Ari is probably talking to the CEO of Anthem. Remember Anthem. Anthem has to sign off on anything Carlos Silva makes the final decisions on. Remember, both WWE and TNA are both two corporations. My battery died. Owned by two corporations. They're not independent promotions anymore. They are owned by corporations, and anything, repeat, any decisions that is made by the ones who own them, who run it on behalf of the corporations, they have to put it past them. So the owner of Anthem, who is the owner of TNA, he signed off on this. So what's going to happen if this works? If it's another company, another streaming company, or A&E and CW, they legitimately will stream their material. They'll stream TNA's old archives and current stuff. Also, they are trying to consider moving to Wednesday night. Now, TNA, when they were on Spike or when they were on, what was it? I forgot the name of the company they were with before they went to Anthem. It's been so long. I forgot the name of the company. But when they were on another company, sorry about that. I thought I heard someone at the door. Ugh. My train of thought has been thrown. Let me give it to you like this, as simple as possible. TNA at this point is being used by WWE. There is no way on this green earth at all that you're going to see WWE just not help them, because they're going to be helped. With both companies, in other words, both corporations. The Silver Lake Corporation, which is through Endeavor, and the Anthem Corporation through TNA. You're going to see, I know I could say WWE, but I'd rather say Endeavor. But you can see the situation here. Right now, they want to fuck up AEW. Now, I'm not going to tell you AEW is great. I just saw Dynamite. And I'm like, what the fuck? There's only one story there. And that's with Hangman Page. And guys, the only major story I saw there that has the most strength is Hangman Page. And it comes to MJF. I look at Okada dealing with Swerve Strickland as a downgrade. And that's not even meant to say that Okada's doing bad work. They just haven't set it up in a way that makes Swerve mean something. And then the Death Riders are dealing with Darby Allin, dealing with Will Ospreay. Takahashi. I didn't make my video about Takahashi. I couldn't. I mean, I had it on my mind as it was. But then I found out, after I finally saw the Dynamite episode, where Hiroshi Takahashi is now supposedly a threat to a Jon Moxley? Is this a joke? Takahashi should not be wrestling. He should be a manager or general manager and just be seen on television, not wrestle. The guy has such bad knees, he can't even walk correctly. And now they want to put him into a fucking steel cage at Forbidden Door. They don't need to worry that much about AEW. They're screwing themselves up. Many of the storylines they have there for the men, and particularly the women, are not great. But it is obvious WWE had made their decision. Triple H, who could not run the place, remember, let's do a little bit of history. In 2019, when AEW came online, they tried to go head-to-head. But the problem was, Triple H, his heart was not good, and he had to walk away to get surgery to save his life. And Vince took over, and they got their asses handed to him hand over fist. Every time, until Triple H was able to come back. And by that time, that's when he was not running NXT. It was Shawn Michaels that was being told what to do by Vince. And by the time he got out, and it's only Shawn, that is when the product got a little better. I've never said that. I want to make this clear. NXT, when it was just run generally by Shawn, was not trash. It was actually decent. But as I said over and over again ad nauseum, it is about basic booking. No incredible storylines were built into NXT. It is basic booking. But people liked it. Unlike with JD or Alex Stinks. It is basic booking, but they want the type of booking that Triple H did. But remember, Triple H was in a position where he couldn't do anything that he wanted on the main roster. That's why he made NXT. This is what these guys are not remembering. That when he had created NXT for the future, it wasn't just because he wanted to give WWE a future. It's because he knew he could never do what he wanted. Vince would always override a Paul every single time. He can make the suggestion, but Vince will always 100% say, fuck all, it's the way I want. That is what Black and Gold was. His outlet. They don't want to see it that way. And I'm not going against Alex or JD. I completely understand. That was some of the best booking they did in WWE since the early 2000s. There's no lie about that. But here's the thing. We are not in the situation where Triple H, Paul, cares anymore. He had his chance before Vince sold the damn company to work with Steph and work with Shawn if Vince just gave them the reins. That didn't happen. Now he has to report to someone else, Nick, who then has to report to Ari. And that is what it was until Vince was gone, which he was. Now, what do we got? We got TNA, who is doing the damn bidding of WWE. And for doing the bidding of WWE by going on A&E and CW, which will be great because they could set this up that you could have TNA at certain points that will bleed into WWE and then bleed into TNA again, which will give them more eyes on a product and give them more money, which that's what TNA wants. That's what Silver wants because that is what the CEO of Anthem wants. He wants a return on his investment. He's not caring that he wants his company, his product to be good or great, not to outshine WWE, but just to know he makes a great wrestling product. No, the CEO of Anthem doesn't give a fuck about the damn product. He's of pro wrestling. That is what... Stay calm. This is one of the problems I had with this situation when it came to WWE and TNA. These are not promotions anymore. They are satellite companies that are owned by a corporation that both of them don't care about the product. They only care about making money from the product. As I've always stated, with not many people say, I don't get it. But I'm going to break this down to you briefly. Well, not briefly because it's well beyond 30 minutes. Let's make this clear. There is a difference between producing a product and having a product that you produce. There is a difference. Here's the difference. To produce a product, pro wrestling, you are producing a show that gives you adventure, excitement in a sense, gives you story, can give you actual people going against each other and could hurt each other, seriously, and compelling type of television that will always keep bringing you back, which is what a pro wrestling fan wants. The people who run it, they love the product they're producing because they love pro wrestling. They adore pro wrestling, and they know the prices of pro wrestling, which could be drugs, could be injuries, it could mean death, but also could mean notoriety. It could mean celebrity status. It could be to be remembered for what you've done. But in the end, it's still about loving pro wrestling. That is producing a product. The people who ran wrestling, whether it's WWE, AEW, WCW, ECW, it don't make a difference. TNA, it makes no difference. If they love pro wrestling, it's not about making just money. It's just doing it. That's the product you love to produce. But this is where the other half comes. Not making a product, but using a product. Corporations like Anthem and corporations like, at first, it was Endeavor with Ari, and now it's Silver Lake Firm, which Ari runs Endeavor for them. Remember, Silver Lake owns over 60% of the stock of Endeavor, which they own it now. Ari is no longer the owner of Endeavor. He's just the CEO, which he can be easily removed. Nick can also be removed. Triple H can be removed. And The Rock can be removed. Anytime any one of them are just out, they can break their contract, kick their fucking asses out. The people who own it only want to use wrestling to make money. Not the love of the product, but to use the product. They don't care that people love it or not. They just know it's a product that makes money. Big money. $6 billion to be exact. That's what WWE is worth right now. $6 billion. Not counting any type of other interest that goes along with merchandise deals or TV shows or anything else. It's just the Raw company itself is $6 billion as far as I understand. I could be wrong, but that's what I know. TNA is what, maybe $50 million, maybe? $50 million? We don't know how much it is when Scott D'Amore tried to buy it. So we don't know what it could have been the market value. But the CEO of Anthem probably had a talk with WWE. Talk with, at the time, Endeavor. And then said, okay, let's go this route. Because I'm going to make even more money. Then selling it, I'll be able to make even more money back in the investment. Not, I'm going to make money in a company that I am a part of, that I love pro wrestling. No, the CEO probably doesn't give fucks about TNA. Because it's all about TNA now. Doesn't care about TNA. He doesn't give two fucks about TNA. Only thing he cares about TNA is an investment for his company, and he wants more money back from it. That's what we have here. So what do I see the future of TNA? Oh, they're going to be able to get a deal, probably with A&E or CW or someone else. It may not be two companies that may stream. It might be three. Or it could be two. You never know. But they're going to be able to work with WWE enough that they'll have their own strength. They're going to have way more than they ever did when they were on Spike. And Destination America, I think that was the name of the network that was on before they went to Anthem, before they were bought. So this is what's going to happen. They are going to get a deal. They're going to get more money. And you're going to see them eventually not care that much about pro wrestling. They're going to use pro wrestling instead of producing pro wrestling. Like I said, there's a difference between producing something that you love and using something that you produce. But it's just me, and I hope you enjoy this. I'm about to say Gump goodness. This is the Gump Report. Please give me a comment below. I'm going to try and do some more videos in the next day or so, and then I'll start releasing them. I think I have something to do tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this video. Peace.